striking, emotive film built around sort of overcoming trauma and abuse. And I thought it was a really not just beautiful piece cinematically, but emotionally in particular. I thought the lead actress was really great in sort of navigating the dynamics of her abuse. I thought it was really unrealistic in her how she sort of had to transition from blaming herself to learning to realize that things are not her fault, and sort of the complicated process that is required to grow from these type of experiences. I thought the female-centric dynamic of the piece really helped make it more real and grounded, and all the talent on screen really sort of reflected a level of compassion that was indicative of what's required for these kind of women who are looking for this kind of place, who are looking for this type of help, and who have gone through these kind of experiences. So I thought cinematically the piece really worked on a great level, and emotionally the grounded aesthetic based around conversations and introspection really allowed the actresses to show a range of skills and emotions that really made the piece very really stick with you and really create images and moments that really reflected how you think this would go out in real life. So I thought it was ended up being very powerful for those reasons, and that's why I enjoyed it despite its very dark themes and the subject matter.
I loved how we were able to see the transition and the growth of our protagonist throughout the film, and that she really did end up getting what she called her shine back. And this house and the therapist that comes with the house really healed her. I also want to give a shout out to this actress, the protagonist, because she just had like straight monologues, straight monologues for the majority of the film. And it was, it was beautifully done. And I think what really captured me is that you get to be on the inside of a therapy session. Um, and you get to hear this kind of stream of consciousness from someone. And I just think that I felt like a fly on the wall, and it's a perspective that I don't think we normally get to be a part of. And as someone who's been to like so much therapy myself, she just showed so much self-awareness while describing her situation and how she felt and how she feels and what she deserves and what she doesn't, and whose fault is what, and all of that. It was just getting to watch her and hear her unpack it all in real time was really, really cool.
It's a really beautiful idea to see this house and this safe haven that brings women in, and it brings them back to life essentially as they come out of these abusive relationships. And I think that's a really beautiful concept for a home, and it really symbolizes just this safe haven, and watching that happen on screen is really, really nice. I want to commend the actresses in this. The scene where they're talking to each other and going over the, what they've been through was really beautiful. And I think it's incredibly relatable for a lot of women out there. And it was just a really touching moment on screen. I think there were a lot of great lighting and wardrobe choices, and watching this woman become herself again, both, physically and emotionally throughout the piece. And it was really heartwarming to watch. Really well done.
The cinematography was great, but I like the idea of this story being about healing, because we get a lot. Filmmakers love to make films about trauma and about suffering and whatever, and tell stories about suffering. But this felt like a film that takes place after that. You know what I'm saying? About the healing, and I really like that. I really think that should be explored more, and this film did that well. And like is about the after effects and like the hopeful, like how does a person, like, you go through all of that or whatever, and we've seen that countless times, but then to heal from that and to tell the story of how to heal from that and like talking through it and all of that was a good direction. So
I saw it sort of like the opposite of what the Shining Hotel did. So much more wholesome in this film, of course. I really liked how we could see the physical transformation of the woman as well as the emotional transformation throughout the film. Slowly she comes back to life, and you see that in her makeup and, you know, how she dresses and just her glow in general. It's more pronounced throughout the film, and we see how the house is healing her. I thought that the long monologue delivered while the two women are eating was done very realistically. It felt very honest and very relatable, unfortunately relatable for a lot of people in abusive relationships or people who have come out of abusive relationships. I think that all of them could really relate to that just because it was delivered so honestly. So the acting was really good in that scene. And the addition of the other woman as the soundboard, I thought that worked seamlessly. Having her sort of represent the house and the healing worked well in this too. And of course, the ending with the bringing in of the next woman and just seeing that cycle of healing. I thought that the ending also helped to explain what was happening well. And so that was a good way to end it, just to see how much the transformation worked for the first woman and how it's going to work for the second.
This film is outstandingly sensible in their approach to domestic violence and the inner dialogue of the abused party with the charismatic narcissistic partner that somehow everyone loves, and they are totally unaware of what's happening in the relationship. They use this beautiful setting, even more beautiful music, and this very intense script, totally realistic, so loaded with emotions, perfectly performed. It speaks of exhaustion, guilt, loneliness, void. They managed to have these venting episodes and realizing the reasons that this character used for justifying the situation they were in. And then also it comes the time where she couldn't recognize herself anymore. This is a great story of new beginnings.
A house that heals from trauma is something that I think we all need at a time. When things get tough, you do need to get away and reevaluate, which is what Claire seemed to be doing. It's vital to health, especially when someone manipulates you and abuses you to the point where you don't feel like yourself, which is what she seemed to feel like. But it was well done. It was a beautiful house. I don't know where this was shot, but that house is absolutely gorgeous. It had some great cinematography in it, a good score where you could feel that this woman was healing as she talked. It didn't really feel clinical, but it felt natural, as if she's figuring out who she is for the first time in years.